You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 21st day of November, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. First broadcast is our live training room. That, of course, is reserved for members only and those taking 1-week free trial. Not yet taking your 1-week free trial. When Michael joins us about 1 p.m. Eastern, he'll walk you through the steps. It'll take you about 3 minutes. Get your indicators up and indicating today. Your trial will officially start Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern and run all the way through next. That's right, we got a holiday. You'll probably end up getting 2 weeks, week and a half. How about that? No credit card required. I want you to focus on what's being taught so that at the end of the trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. If you've already taken the trial, and for whatever reason you just haven't become a yet, I want you to email Valerie, support@cfrn.net, and just ask her to tell you more about the monthly subscription service. She'll get back to you straight away. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth, internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. Best way, you only got to do it once. mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form. You're done. What'll happen going forward is every trading day, you email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, just click the link in the email, and it logs you right into our platform. Benefit there is you'll immediately have access to the question box. You can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop. This time of year, maybe you're visiting family or friends for the holidays. But you still want to join live. Some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. Both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. But all you have to remember .com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, we also archive each and every day broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,900 daily episodes archived for educational and viewing. .com/CF. On the left side of the screen is the schedule for each afternoon broadcast. So, getting a little bit of a late start today. I apologize for that. We're going to dive right into our devotional. Topic of the devotional that we're in right now, it's a 28-day devotional. Day 21. sharing your faith. Why such a long topic? Such a long devotional? Well, because the implications of sharing your faith have eternal consequences. Light of eternity, 28 days, well, not much, right? Today's scripture, Colossians 4:12. I'm going to share it from the NIV translation. Epaphras is one of you and a servant of Christ Jesus, sends greetings. He is always wrestling in prayer for you, that you may stand firm in all the will of God, mature and fully assured. Again, that's Colossians. It's day 22 we're on. Wrestling match. New believers need your prayers. They lack the inner strength and insight that comes, leaving them vulnerable to external pressures, struggles in the Christian life. Paul prayed continually. New believers he knew. The Thessalonians 1:2. He even prayed for others he had never met, such as the believers in Colossae, Colossians 2:1. A co-worker named Epaphras joined Paul by always wrestling in prayer for you. They stand firm in the will of God, mature and assured. It's the scripture we just read. Too often our prayers sound more like a grocery list than a wrestling match. Busy listing our desires rather than struggling on behalf of others spiritually. Perhaps that's because we fail to recognize the struggle that others experience. The power of prayer make a difference. Spiritual wrestling begins. Now, many of you were raised in a Christian household. Maybe you went to church every Sunday. Maybe you didn't. But your family considered themselves Christians. So, whether you've been a devout follower of Christ all your life or not, had that Christian upbringing, taught at a very young age that that's just how it was. It was a God who created the heavens and the earth, sent his son, die on a cross for the sins of the world. And many of us just kind of took that for granted. Now, think about someone who was raised in a different kind of household. Maybe an atheist household, where everyone always made fun of the Christians, laughed about them being to the lions back in the old days. Or maybe someone was raised in a Muslim household, or Buddhist. Now, for someone who was raised in a Christian household to become a devout follower of Jesus, that's not a big step. For someone who was raised in a completely different culture, it's a huge step. It's a chasm as wide as the Grand Canyon. Think about, if you're a believer, think about somebody trying to convert you to Buddhism, trying to convert you to the Islamic faith. Puts a different light on things, right? So here's what I want to encourage you to do. Add new believers to your prayer list, recognizing the battle they face. Pray through Colossians 1:9-12 on their behalf. Other passages to use include Ephesians 1:15-19, Ephesians 3:18-20, Philippians 1, 9 through 11, and 1 Thessalonians 3, 12, 13. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for gathering us here once again to pause to acknowledge your presence and your goodness. Lord, pray that you would bless each person who's tuned into this broadcast live, those who will hear it later, today, next week, next month, next year. And let today's broadcast be filled with insight and everything we do for you and reflect your grace. It's in Jesus' name, believe and pray. Said. And happy Friday. Give you the number. Start here. S cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Loading is all right. The Dow up 718 points, 1.5%. The Nasdaq up 222 points, 1%. S&P 500 up 78.25%. Russell 2000 up 62 points, almost 3%. About a turnaround Friday. Not that's a thing, but it is now. Commodity basket, crude oil down $1.17, trading 57.83 last. That's a drop of almost 2%. Now, crude, in order for the crude oil companies like Exxon and all the others, in order for them to be profitable, it needs to be trading at like $70 a barrel. So they're really feeling the pinch. I'm not one to advise shorting stocks, but if you are a person that has an interest in that, or even maybe you trade options, I don't know. I got to believe the oil companies, Exxon and the whole bunch, are weak at this point. Because what I hear on the street is that oil prices are going. Of course, we like that because eventually it translates into $2 gasoline at the pump. Here in Phoenix, we have no distillery in the greater Phoenix area. So our gas is still over $3 a gallon. But some places in the U.S., it's less than $2.50, I think. Gold up $29.80, trading $40.89.30 last. Silver down 18 cents, trading 50 last. Asian markets at the close. The Nikkei dropped 1,198 points, 0.5%. Shanghai dropped 96, 2.5%. Hang Seng fell $615, just shy of 0.5%. And the European markets at the close, see up 12. DAX down 186, 1%. CAC up 0.5. So that gives us a red day in Asia. It's a mixed day Boy, is it ever a big Radio Friday here in the US of A. Now, let me throw a caveat out. I suspect this could be called a dead cat bounce or a head fake. Still didn't make it to that 24% fib retracement daily chart of the ES. So I know it's nice to see everything moving higher today. I got a feeling Sunday night's going to be wild when the markets open at 6 p.m. Eastern. And remember, that's when we go to work. We start sending out the concierge trade alerts and the Logic 247 alerts at 6 p.m. Eastern Sunday. Most traders think the markets don't even open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and that's true if you trade equities. Trade futures, well, it's a different story. Just trade around. All right, that's the numbers. Let's go to the news. Global first. A funeral service for former Vice President Dick Cheney was held yesterday at Washington National Cathedral. The invitation-only event included former Presidents George Bush and Joe Biden, along with 4 of the 5 living vice presidents. President Trump and Vice President Vance were not invited and did not issue statements. Cheney died November 3rd at age 84 from complications related to pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. He served as the 46th vice president, 2001 to 2009. He was also the Secretary of Defense and White House Chief of Staff. And, well, we won't talk about that incident. President Trump meets today with New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Now, Crown Prince came and these other dignitaries came. They got the royal treatment in the Oval Office, and it was televised, live in real time. Haven't heard yet. Maybe it's in this article. Let's keep reading. I'm really interested. I would love to be a fly on the wall. Downey walks into the Oval Office. As the leader of the U.S.'s most populous city, it's customary for New York City mayors to meet with the U.S. president. New York City relies heavily on federal funding. Fiscal year 2025, New York City received $9.7 billion from the federal government, covering 8.3% of its total spending. While the two leaders have openly criticized each other, Mamdani said he hopes to align with Trump on the affordability crisis. Both campaigned on the cost of living. 1 in 10 New Yorkers who voted for Trump last year went on to vote for Mamdani. Okay, but here's the difference between Trump and Mamdani. Mamdani wants to give away other people's money. Trump wants to create jobs so that everybody has money. Mamdani calls himself a socialist, but let's face it, the guy and his theology, he's a communist. He lives off his parents. He's never had a real job. Before being sworn in, Mamdani will also require top-level security clearance. Trump has previously threatened to deport him. Born in Uganda, became a U.S. citizen in 2018. Now, in an interview last night, the lady doing the interview said, so you've promised free buses, free childcare, all kinds of free stuff. How are you going to pay for it? He said, we're going to tax the rich. Did you know that in New York City, 1% of the population pays 50% taxes? So He's going to tax the rich right out of the state. That's what he's going to do. So then where's he going to turn to for money? I don't think Trump's going to give it to him. We'll see. We shall see. Wicked for Good, the second and final installment of the Broadway musical's film adaptation, appears exclusively in theaters today. I don't like the look of it at all. Projected to earn upward of $200 million at the global box office this weekend, shattering the $162 million opening weekend record for a Broadway-to-screen adaptation set by the first film. The strong forecast follows a nearly 3-decade box office low last month, excluding pandemic-affected 2020 data. Wicked Part 1 earned 2 Oscars, a Golden Globe, and ultimately grossed roughly $756 million globally, making it the highest-earning Broadway adaptation. Yeah, I won't be going to see that. U.S. consumer sentiment deteriorated slightly in November as Americans fretted about high prices, weaker incomes, and mounting layoffs, nearing record lows. That's according to the University of Michigan's final reading of its survey of consumers. Take college students and they hand them a phone book and they just call people and go, "What do you think about the economy?" And I'm sure they got a list of questions they ask them. That's how this data is obtained, by just calling people up on the phone. Maybe that's a great way to do it. And they charge, you can buy that report. It's publicly issued as it was this morning. So the University of Michigan figured out a way to get some fast cash. Sentiment improved a bit after the shutdown ended November 12th, reaching a level of 51, lower than October's 53.6 and down 29% from a year. I'm not buying it. We'll see. Now, as you know, NVIDIA reported earnings Wednesday afternoon, and they were better than expected. But instead of showing AI growth flatlining, Wall Street saw the company deliver AI-infused vindication. Investors on Thursday appeared to agree before igniting a sell-off that led to a 3% drop for NVIDIA, a 1.6% drop for the S&P 500. Now, Wall Street and the rest of the market will have to agree to disagree. Vibes and analyst commentary and those red numbers simply match. Remember, this whole AI trade is hinging on NVIDIA's earnings. So Wall Street and Main Street. Federal Reserve Bank of New York President John Williams said he sees room to lower interest rates again in the near term as the labor market softens, driving investor expectations for a December rate cut. Next FOMC, the last one of this year, is December 10th. President Trump and Republican lawmakers are grasping for ideas on a new party line package aimed at blunting criticism of rising health care and other costs of living, as spiking premiums bedevil the party and affordability becomes the defining issue next year's pivotal elections. They've been trying to straighten out this healthcare system for a very long time. Y'all know Obama. All it did was make the insurance companies fat and sassy. And the more money the insurance companies make, the more lobbyists they can hire. Go to Congress and plead the case. It's a vicious circle. Moving on, when it comes to rare earth elements, critical for many industries, it's all about China. More and more companies are trying to break the stranglehold the country has over its supply of rare earth metals. Rare earth elements are a group of 17 elements that are used in many industrial applications, notably in fighter jets, robots, MRI scanners, and automobiles. REEs are split into two categories, heavy and light. While China is the major industry player in both the mining and refining of these elements, especially dominates in heavy rare earths like dysprosium, terbium, common in permanent magnets for electric motors and wind turbines. News this week that China is allegedly dumping REEs into the market to hurt U.S. and foreign companies, developing an ex-China supply chain for companies like automakers and defense contractors is paramount. That's where Brazilian rare earths comes in. The symbol is BRE.XA. It's one of many companies looking to meet that demand and provide non-China based elements. I'll give you that symbol again. Just Google Brazilian rare earths. You'll find it. It doesn't trade on our exchanges, but I'm sure some ETF will figure out exposure. Zelensky said Ukraine is facing the risk of losing its key partner after the U.S. threatened to cut off support unless Kiev agrees to a peace deal that favors Russia. Now is one of the most difficult moments in our history, Zelensky said in a video address to the nation on Friday, today, after he was presented with a 28-point peace plan brokered by the U.S. and Russia. Ukraine may face a hard choice, either the loss of our dignity or the loss of our key partner. His comments came after Kiev's biggest European allies lined up with Zelensky to push back against important elements of the plan, force Ukraine to cede large chunks of territory taken by Russia. But the scope for Zelensky to avoid making major concessions to Moscow is narrowing as his country faces deadly Russian airstrikes on energy infrastructure ahead of winter and uncertainty continued Western support. Curious how you feel about funding this war that will never end. Russia. From Reuters, the biggest bout of volatility in U.S. stocks in months has revealed cracks in the artificial intelligence-related rally, raising questions about whether the market has been in the grips of a speculative bubble topping. Soaring recommendations in AI stocks this year have stoked worries that Wall Street may be inflating another speculative bubble. Some of these fears coming to the forefront after a stellar earnings report. AI bellwether NVIDIA failed to rally the stock and the 127 Democrats used to condemn the horrors of socialism. A vote to condemn the horrors of socialism passed on a mostly party line vote Friday, 98 Democrats voting against it and 199 Republicans voting. The bill passed 285 to 98. No Republican voted against the bill, although 20 Republicans chose not to vote. Democrat side, it was far from unanimous, with 86 members voting in favor and 98 against. 2 Democrats voted present and 27 just. Resolution sponsored by Representative Maria Salazar reads, socialism has repeatedly led to famine and mass murders and the killing of over 100 million people worldwide, and recognizes many of the greatest crimes in history committed by socialist ideologues. Salazar is of a Cuban-American background and represents a Miami area district. The resolution culminates in the commitment that Congress denounces socialism in all its forms and opposes the implementation of socialist policies in the United States. Some of your Democrats, and we got a communist walking into the Oval Office today. See how that goes. All right. Got a beautiful article for you. As religion weakens, aim has to be the educational system we have here in America. Our young people were not taught the true history of America. Can't change history. What happened, happened. And our children should be taught the facts. Many of them think socialism sounds good because everything's free. It's free until you run out of other people's money to give away. All right, local news. Logic 247. It's our 24/7 around-the-clock Emini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also silver. We're currently in week 381. For the last 381 weeks, we have issued over 1,000 individual handcrafted alerts. Averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. This week, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we had issued 50 alerts when Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, after she published the recap, I published, I think, 10 or 11 additional alerts. So she'll finalize the recap for the week, taking into consideration, of course, alerts that I issued this morning before the. But at the time she did the recap, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, we had issued a total of 50 alerts so far. One never triggered. We're still waiting on the outcome of 6. It gave us 43 actionable alerts, of which 4 or 9% have been stopped out. Again, based on simple market structure, simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day. And then most of them have additional targets and then a final trade to target. The real purpose of the logic alerts is to teach you how to read the chart. If you can't read the chart, how are you ever going to become a consistently profitable trader? Tough, right? So, if you never trade a logic alert, that's fine. No worries. Now, they're issued well ahead of them triggering, evidenced by the fact that when Valerie did the recap this morning, we were still waiting on the outcome of 6. So you don't have to fall over your feet, get to your desk to put on a trade when the logic alert comes out. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock. AM, futures trade around the clock. We have day session is their night session, vice versa. But if you'll use the logic alerts the way they're intended, up the alert, bring up the 30-minute chart, draw the horizontal lines, soon you don't even need the alerts because you'll be able to read the chart exactly how I do. Know where to anticipate support. anticipate resistance. All I can say is use them so that you can learn to read the chart, and then you won't be dependent on someone else to read the chart. Now, 381 weeks is a long time. Look at 7 years. But years before we had Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. And they're different in a lot of ways. For the purpose of this discussion, I'll just say this. They don't come out around the clock. Published typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex open. Friday session that we're in right now started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. All of our traders had all of these targets 5 minutes before S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, NQ, silver. So let's go to the charts and see how we start. We always do. Daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures. Add over. It's good enough. What are you looking at? A daily chart of the S&P. Green line. It's called the VVC. Price always reverts to the mean. I don't care what you're trading and how you're trading it. Price always reverts to the mean. Now, in our case, mean is green. It's that green line. And we call it the BBC, which just stands for bull cross. That means, show you. Price crosses below the green line, opens and closes below the green line. That is our big picture bearish signal. And when price reverts to the mean or pulls back to the BBC, guess what happens? Pullback holds often than it doesn't. This is what it looks like when it doesn't. This pullback held, and it still held because it was touching the line. Right here, April 25th, we had a candle open and close above the BBC. So that day, we officially went from being bearish to bullish. That was April 25th. Now, almost to the end of November. Okay. Once we went bullish, every pullback, starting with this one on April 30th, this one on May 23rd, this 3-day pullback started on June 19th. Every single pullback is held. As long as the green line, as long as the candle is touching the green line, that means the pullback held. Sometimes it's a 1-day event, sometimes it's a 4-day event, 3-day event. And then we had something that I don't recall us ever seeing before. We had a 6-day pullback right here. 1, 2, 5, 6 candles, every one of them physically touching the green. So the pullback not only held for 6 days, it then went on to put in new all-time historic intraday and closing highs. Since then, we got a big picture bearish signal, which turned out to be a head fake. Because this was a Friday, this would have been Fridays ago. On the following Sunday night, the markets gapped up substantially. This was Monday of that week, Tuesday, and then Wednesday we got a doji. And I said, maybe this is where we back down. Talked about it here on the broadcast. Sure enough, closed below the BBC on the 13th. And then last Friday, the 14th, got an almost identical big picture bear signal. Opened and closed below the BBC without touching it. And from there, went down in a double bottom. See that? Red candle, this big red. We opened last night and we traded a little bit lower. Okay. Then the news came out this morning and sparked a rally. Made it all the way back up to the black step line, which is potential resistance. Next major resistance is at red and falling. Then the 24% fib extension. Then the 38% fib extension, which is aligned right now with daily BBC. Then the high of yesterday, which is at the 50% fib extension. 62. This high, 69.10. There, we're turned to red. Then the all-time historic high. So in other words, that's why I made the comment about this being potentially a dead cat bounce. Looks like everything's turning around and it's all going to be rosy. I won't buy that until I see a candle, a daily candle, open and close of the green. Now, we got pretty close to that 24% fib retracement. That's the shallowest possible retracement. We haven't had a 24% retracement, big picture, in a long time. Since we went from bearish to bullish. Now we're bearish again. Now, even when you're in a bull market, you're going to have retracements because price always reverts to the mean. Leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement, 6-day pullback, leg retracement. But we traded through, see? We got that dead cat bounce, identical bearish signal, just identical. That was a Friday, that was a Friday, and this is a Friday. Right up against resistance at the black step line. So Sunday night I think is going to be interesting. In fact, the markets could get real volatile this afternoon based on this Oval Office meeting with Donnie, and that article did not disclose at what time or if it's going to be televised. So all alerts, both the logic alerts and the concierge trade alerts, are created on the chart. Magic about 30 minutes. It's just the time frame I chose years ago. And they say if it's not broke, alone. So I did. Now, when I put out the CTAs last night, I was prepared for a lot of volatility. On the ES, we never made it all the way down to the short target. The vertical lines you see here separate today, Friday. Back here's Thursday, yesterday. Back here's Wednesday. When price drops to a weekly trading zone, expect support until proven otherwise. Price rallies up to a weekly trading zone, expect resistance otherwise. Price drops to a zone, expect support otherwise. Okay. Now, next month on the 14th, it will mark 16 years that we publish these weekly trading zones for our members every Monday. Once they're published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, carved in stone for the entire week. Change in any way whatsoever. Now, price encounters a weekly trading zone. One of three things happens. 70% of the time, it's consolidation. 20% of the time, it's rejection, like that. 10% of the time, the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. That happens and the move runs out of steam. Typically will happen then. This price will retrace back to the zone it sliced through and then continue in the direction of the slice. Well, we did get the retracement. Now, the zone is 66.22/20. Low of this pullback was 25. We did miss it by 2 points. Then we continued in the direction of the slice. Or should you anticipate the next resistance? 66.54, 66.58. Get above 66.58, it's pretty clear sailing up to the next weekly zone. Now the lowest zone for this week is down here at 64.27/28. You should think of the zones like this. You're at a football game. You're sitting on the 50-yard line. Look to the left, you got the 40, 10 zone. Look to the right, you got the same thing. So basically what the zones do is they give our traders the playing field for the week. Not saying that price is going to hit the highest zone or price is going to hit the lowest zone. Saying is that throughout the week, the market will likely find support zone, resistance at a zone, etc. Okay. Are there ever any weeks price closes above the highest zone or below the lowest zone? Well, over the last almost 16 years, yes, it has happened a handful of times. But maybe multiply 16 times 52. That's a lot of weeks. Call it 2 handfuls. I don't know. I'll just pull a number out of the air. Maybe 34 times. 16 times 52. I did this the other day and forgot. 16 times 52 weeks. Out of 832 weeks, yeah, I'm sure we've seen maybe even 50 instances. One of any of these markets actually closed above the highest zone or below the lowest zone. And we're already heading back to the zone right now. See, the zones have a magnetic attraction. Price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. See, it's trying to get back to the zone. I think maybe today a little higher, but big picture, remember, I think this is just a dead cat bounce. Never hit the long or short target because I was real generous because I didn't know how volatile today was going to be. No one does. But I put the long target at the bearish cross. Short target, you'd have to go look left to see the reason for that. But anyway, we opened here, ran up, came down, pulled back, held. That gave us another leg to the downside. Back held, got another leg. Then we overcame the BC and the pull back from the other side held. This is where we are now. Dow. That's where we opened last night. Right up to the BBC and the pullback held. Leg and a retracement, pullback held. Leg and a retracement, pullback held. leg and a retracement, and this time we traded through. So then we get a pullback above, and the pullback holds. Sends us all the way up to the line 6,380, which was based off bearish cross from yesterday. And we've gotten pretty close to the zone. Got to 564. The next zone's at 600/605. Will we get there today? Maybe. The Russell. That's where we opened last night. In a bit of an odd way, we did get a pullback to the BBC. Now, when you see, look on the way down, you see how the black step line was running parallel. Once that step line crosses from the left side to the right side, or blue and climbing, you should expect a retracement to the BBC, which is what we got. Pullback held, and it sent us down almost to the short target. It was a low. We missed it by a tick. That bounced us up into resistance, sent us back down to support, sent us back up to the zone of the tick, resistance, sent us back to the BBC support, sent us back to the zone resistance, which sent us back to the BBC support. Then we overcame the zone after 2-3 attempts. We actually overcame it, hit the long target, and sliced it through this zone right here. Then retracement. Now, this zone is 2368/69. It's the low of this candle. 69.8. Okay. That's real close. Remember, 10% of the time you'll get the slice. 70% of the time it's consolidation. 20% of the time rejection. 10% of the time slice. Looks like price is going to come back and test this zone again. If it finds support there, get another leg to the upside. Or we could end up with a retracement back to the step line. That's potential support. Climbing is potential support. Then the BBC is right here at this zone. Still one more zone below. Looks like we're going to kind of close the week, most likely somewhere in the middle. That's the middle of 2392/93. The NQ. So we opened last night. And now, when that step line crossed, price continued to fall. That's a little unusual, but it is what it is. Then we went sideways, and the pullback to the BC held, which gave us a leg to the downside. Short target. This one candle right here. It opened at 34. So it dropped 34 points at $20 a point. It's not right. Opened at 24. Dropped 100. That's a $2,000 per contract candle right there. One contract, $2,000. That 30. Support always sends the market up to resistance. Resistance sends the market looking for support. Support sends the market looking for resistance. So it'll double top here. Here. See? That's market structure. Resistance sends us back to support at the short target. And that support sends us all the way up to the zone overhead distance. And yeah, there's still one more zone down below. Okay. Oil. Tough week for C. Resistance, support, resistance, support. One thing that's changed about the zones over the 16 years is absolutely nothing. We opened crude last night, and in the first 30-minute candle here at, come on, opened at 58.80, dropped $200 per contract traded, short target. Got a little bounce, and then we continued on down to the zone. Consolidation. Support sent us up to C, the held. Now we got this big double bottom here. This support sent us right up to the underside of the short target. Price trades through CTA target like that on the retracement. Quite often you'll see that resistance. Initially support, resistance. Now we got this double bottom big picture. And we still have one more zone. So Michael's here. We will pick up with gold when I come back. Now he's going to give us a recap of everything that happened in the live trading room this morning. Do some live trading, time permits. I'll come back, finish the recap I was on, and wrap things up with our.
Excellent. All right.
And let me get your screen and centered. Okay, perfect.
All right.
That's good.
Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 21st day of November. Bart, okay. The first day of 21 November. Are you in here right now, Bart? Bart is not in here right now. He just messaged me. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here and click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for that trial. When you click on that purple button, it's going to bring you to this registration page, where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and down here at the bottom, make sure you give us your TradingView login ID. Okay, whatever that login ID is, just give it to us so we can get your indicators indicating on your desktop for you. Okay. Okay. We had a pretty good day today. It's had better than last week. Last month we had one that was over 3,000 last month. It was a little bit better than that one. Right. And we go back quite a ways after that to get to a better one than that. But if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today we're up 366 on the NQ, 129 on the YM, 77 on gold, and 63 on the ES. So we're up $3,732 with one contract this morning. Today it took 15 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $2,250 with 10 contracts on, and we took a total of 56 trades this morning. So we traded quite a bit. We ended up having, toward the end of the session, in the last half an hour, I did just 2 markets, gold and the YM, and the gold took a shellacking in that last half hour. I think I had 2 or 3 stop outs. So we were down to 5, and then I had a few stop outs on gold in the last half hour. Anyway, I'll get into that in a minute. So 85.7% of our trades were break even or better this morning, which is still great. It wasn't 94 like yesterday, but it's still great. So on the month now, we're at 19,275 over 11 business days, averaging $1,752 per contract for a 2-hour business day. So where does that stand on the month? We're at 19,275, and we have 3 business days left. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, we're in 5 out of 11 months right now. But by the end of next week, I imagine we'll be better than that. And it's possible it could be better than both of those, depending on how things go next week. So on the year, we're at $250,087 with one contract over 201 business days, averaging $1,244 per contract for 2-hour business day. And following the 24/20 blueprint, which means you stop trading when you get the goal for the day and you add one contract per month. Or one contract for every $2,000 that you earn, which should work out to be a month. All you have to do is, well, if you did that so far this year, you would have only worked 27, just about 28 hours. And if you did it just like I did, you would be up $197,177, trading 11 contracts now. We're almost into the final month of the year. Trading 11 contracts now, averaging $7,058 per hour. Okay. Good money if you can get it. So far this month, we've traded 11 days, 22 hours, and we are at, in the room, 19,275 divided by 22. Doesn't seem right. 876. Something's wrong with that number. Oh, that's because it's, I don't know. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. But no, that's with one contract. That's the thing. So we're averaging $876 per hour per contract. That's what it was. $876 per hour per contract. That's what that number was. Okay, I'm trying to figure it out. So yeah, times 2. Oops, hang on. It's 876 times 2 equals 1752. That's this number right here. I could have just divided that by 2. Anyway, that wasn't fun with numbers for me. All right, so let's get into the trades. Yeah, we'll go over to this one. Start out with the gold. Now, I didn't end up trading any yesterday because I went through every trade that happened during the break, so I'll skip that for today. I want to show you guys something, though. Now, you'll note that 2 of my time frames are larger than normal. The gold is not one of them. Gold is on a 9 range. We started out on gold. Our first trade on gold was right here. We picked up. Okay, my disk is a little too high. I adjusted this morning. There. Okay. Our first trade on gold was right here. We picked up 3 ticks on the first trade. And then we had a nice trade right there. And we ended up with 22 ticks after that trade. And then we had another nice trade right there. We ended up with 47 after that. Then a break even, then 53, then 57. I'm sorry, 53, then 55. I'm sorry, 55. Then we went to 71 on that. Now I think it was above the midpoint by 1 tick. That's why it's the wrong blue. Then we had a break even, and from 71 we went to 96 after that one. Then we stopped out. Now what time is this? 10:53. Yeah, this is where I started doing just 2 markets. And we stopped out there. We went from 96 down to 80. Man, I can't read my own writing here. Oh, there it is. $96 down to 85 is what I wrote. So it was more than, it was 11 ticks. Okay, then we went from, oh, I'm sorry, I scribbled that out. Went from 96 down to 94 somewhere. And then from 94 to 79, and 79 to 59. Then from 59 to 74, and 74 to 75, and 75 to 77. So in there, one of these stop outs wasn't a full stop out. One of them was more than a full stop out. So those are the way the numbers came together. Anyway, at the end of it all, we ended up with 77 ticks here. And we had a break even on that very last trade. But these 3 stop outs right here at the end, they set me back a little bit. Not too much. I mean, I had a great day anyway. The thing that I was thinking of that kind of got me distracted there for a second, I created a video of All right, I created a video inside the TIQ videos Telegram channel, inside the TIQ videos Telegram channel right here. I put this in here. This video is an 8-minute video of me just putting the trades on. Okay, just putting the trades on with just the gold and the YM, right? So I think in that span, I did all those trades that I just showed you at the end. I think all 3 of those stop outs at the end are in there. And the gains are also in there. And then when we get to the YM, you'll see that those are in there too. I think those are all in there. I don't know. Anyway, I said I was going to go through everything that I did during the break, so I'm not. Let's just go into the YM right now. And on YM today, we ended up with 129 ticks. Okay. Let me go all the way back to the beginning. Was it yesterday I had trouble with the YM? I think it must have been. Here we go. We're almost there. There we are. All right. So on the YM, our first trade here on the YM, we picked up 7 ticks. And then the next trade is where we got the goal for the day on that one. Picked up 25 ticks there. That got us to 32 on the YM. So when we had that 32 on the YM, we had 32 on the YM, we had 1 on the ES and 3 on gold, and 4 on the NQ. So it was spread all over the place, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's what it was. But we started out with the 7, we went to 32, then we went to 42. Then we stopped out, we had a break even, then we stopped out, went down to 27. Then we had a break even, another break even, another break even. Then we went to 36. Then another break even, and then 49, and 56, and then 57. And I messed that one up and I ended up with 2 break evens on it. I should have gotten some profit out of 1, but I ended up with 2 break evens. I took it twice by accident. That's in the video. And went from, where was I? I don't know, I am 57. Yeah, 57 to 83, and then 83 to 99. And then a break even, then 99 to 111. And there's a couple other trades. We went from 111 to 121, 121 to 129. And that is where we ended it with the YM. So I might have skipped something in here. Anyway, we ended up with 129 on the YM. All right, now we'll get to the ES. On the ES, let's look at this guy. We'll just go control back on that one too. Okay. Get in there. Here we go. All right, so our first trade on the ES, as I said earlier, we picked up 1 tick right there. You can see we had 1 on the ES, then we had another one. We picked up 2 more to get us to 3. Then we went to 4. Then went from 4 to 29. I think this is where we went to 29, but I grabbed it up here, I think. Went to 29 there. Then went to 33 on that one. And from 33, we went to 34, then 34 to 35. Right there. Break even, and 35 to 39, and 39 to 47, and 47 to 63, and that is where we ended it. I think, yeah, that is where we ended it. 63 ticks. Take any more trades? Doesn't look like it. No, I didn't, because I switched at that point to just the YM and gold. So I didn't take any more trades after that. No. Hopefully we'll be able to get in some trades here this session because I didn't get any in yesterday. Now the NQ, we had a fair number of trades, not more than anything. Actually, it was almost the least amount of trades on the NQ today. Oh, but that's because I switched it. You'll note that I switched it to a 47 range, so I went back to a 60 by 75 bracket. Okay, and I did that after the first trade, right? I think it was after the first trade. On the first trade, we picked up 4 ticks here. And then I saw that it was jumping all over the place with a 19 range. So I went to a 47 range and it was still jumping all over the place. I'm sorry, I went to a 39 range. Did I do that? Or did I start out with a 39 range? I don't remember. But anyway, I switched it to a 47 range. And here we went from 4 to 79. So we had a 75 tick win there. Then went from 79 to 87. And then we had a stop out right there. That was a 60 tick stop out, brought us down to 27. You know, from 27 to 35, then 35 up to 110. So that was another 110 tick. I'm a 75 tick win. And then we stopped out again and we went down to 50. Then went to 58. And from 58, we went up to 133. So another 75 tick win. And from 133 to 156, and 156 to 231, another 75 tick win. And then from 231 to 306, so another 75 tick win. That is how we ended up getting up to 300. We had 5 75 tick wins. We had two 60 tick stop outs, and a few smaller trades in there. And then we stopped trading the NQ. All right. So that was all that. Now, let me say this. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for that. Just click on the purple button and it's going to bring you to the registration page. This page right here. Now, if you sign up for the trial this week, right now, over the weekend, you'll get the trial for the 3 days that we're going to be here next week, and then we'll continue it on the week after that, okay, into December. So if you sign on right now, on the 21st of November, you'll still be on the trial in December. So take the free trial. Now's a good time for it. All right. All right. Now let's get into some trades if we can here. Let me make sure I can see all my DOMs. Now, the NQ didn't hit the midpoint there. The S didn't hit the midpoint there. The YM, we're not at the end of it. Here, let's scrunch it up a little bit. The gold, we're not at the end of it either. All right, so nothing is going to trade here right now. You don't have trades anywhere right at the moment. Not too far away from trades, but nothing's got one right now. Okay. Bart, you are in there. We're in there, Bart. Okay, I'll give you a call in a little while. Okay, Bart. We'll see if we can straighten this stuff out. Peter. I gotta call Peter today too. Peter's thing could take like 5 minutes, possibly. Go back and look at his signing. All right, so everything's in the red, so we're looking for pullbacks up to the midpoint here. Now this has made it full cycle, full cycle, full cycle. So the ES is the only one that hasn't made it full cycle. So these, we need an up close followed by a down close on the gold. Same thing on the NQ and the YM. They all need an up close followed by a down close right now. Okay. If I bring this over here and we wait for it, there's a little bit of a gap in there. I don't like that. It's trading really thin right now for 10 contracts. We didn't get the up close followed by a down close over here. Okay, we did, or did we? I guess we did, I just didn't see it. I looked away. So we got the down close right there. That should have been something that I was thinking about. This is not flat, so we need the up close to flatten it out, and then the down close. This, so we needed the up close here to flatten it out. All right, so it doesn't look like we're gonna get the trade here on gold. I'll slide it back over to this side. So what I did this morning is I just did 2 markets like this, and I just kept my DOM over here and over here. So you could see the trades actually, how I was putting them on, because a lot of you guys wonder how I get the trades to feel so good. I mean, right now there's a spread. So with 10 contracts, I'm gonna get spread over like 5 spots if I do it the way that I was doing it a couple, most of the time. The market's trading really, really thin right now. So doing it that way is probably not gonna work out. This is not gonna make it down to the midpoint, I don't think. It is not, okay? And oops, and if you look at the gold, it's got a higher 0.2. That would work. A down close on the gold would work if I can find my gold DOM. EP, here's the YM one. Here's the gold one. Okay, so let me just put this always on top. And I'll put a sell stop on it right there. I think that's right. There it is. And see, it even slipped me there. It slipped me 5 ticks right there. Okay, so the stop will go to break even when I get 5 ticks in profit. It'll go to break even when I get 5 ticks in profit. And hopefully it will give me 5 ticks in profit here. That has been a hassle today. The slippage has been pretty rough. It's not normally, we have a spread in it. That's why I was considering not trading it at all, at least not with 10 contracts, because we have a spread. And so we're minus 15 ticks on that one. I'm going to put all the markets back up here because now I got to recover from that. I don't know if these are going to give us enough opportunity. All right, the YM is about to give us a trade. Nope, it just went away. The ES, the NQ, none of those have trades right now. Flipping the YBR, flipping the YBR, flipping the YBR. So we'll be looking for long trades on all of these soon. Okay. All of these 3. We have 9 minutes left. Hopefully we'll get something here. The NQ is pretty close. The S is pretty close. The YM is just about there right now too. Has the YM pulled back too deep? Yep, it just pulled back too deep. The ES is right on it though. The ES could give a trade. The NQ could give a trade right. The YM's pulled back too deep. On the up close, it's not going to hit the midpoint. The ES, you're looking at 11 right now. In the NQ, we just need the up close. There it is. Okay. All right. Well, here's the NQ trade. The S trade gave me plus 1 tick. It bounced up and moved my stop to break even plus a tick. This just went to plus 8 ticks. And it just took me out with 8. Okay, on the 47 range, I have it automatically go to 8 ticks after 20 ticks in profit. And on the ES, I have it go to plus 1 tick. After 20 ticks in profit. So that's what we ended up getting there and there. And we had to stop out over here, wherever that one was. It was back here. And this one. Back here. All right. So we're all jammed up in here right now. You see how tight the range is? The ES made it all the way up to the overbought, so did the NQ. Now they need to get into the oversold and come out of the oversold without dropping down too low. The midpoint's not flat on that. You're not going to have a trade there. The midpoint's not going to be flat on this either. It'll be too far away anyway. The trade potentials are the YM, an up close on the YM, and a down close followed by an up close on the gold. And the gold's going to be too far away, so that's not a trade potential. The YM is too far away too, I think. Yeah, the YM's too far away too. Well. And this is just awful. The markets are trading so thin right now. this is when trading 10 contracts is really only feasible on the ES. If you look at how thin these markets are, there's a spread, and then to fill 10 contracts, if it's just me to fill 10 contracts, it's going to take 3 ticks. It's frustrating. But we just want to make a little bit of money here. And right now with that stop out on gold, we have 150 to make up, and we are not there yet. We are at about 95 away from making up that 150. When I say the word makeup, I don't really mean makeup. I just want to I want to end my 15 minutes of trading here positive. Hopefully we'll get an opportunity to.
Takeaway here, guys, is discipline. Because some people at this point would just say, you know what, let me just throw a trade on and hope it works. That's not trading, that's gambling.
That is gambling. I'm waiting for the actual setups to happen, and then I'll jump on it when it does. Nothing's happening right now, though. We need pullbacks on all of these 3. And this one was pretty close. We needed an up close followed by a down close, but now it's not even close. So,
and if you don't have the proper setup, you don't have a trade.
I don't. And that's the way it's coming together now. We need a down close on this, was oversold. Now we just need the up close on that for the trade on the YM. An up close on the YM, an up close on the ES, and an up close on the NQ. All right. That's all we need on all of those. There's the up close on the YM. YM just triggered. That stop is going to +9. I think I dropped it. Yeah, I did. Okay. I took the ES and the NQ too, and all the automated stuff I think happened, and I ended up with 1 tick there and 8 ticks there. Let me just go check on that. Make sure the EP. I actually ended up with 3 ticks on the ES. Yes, was 3 ticks. I don't know how that happened. In the NQ, filled at 47.75 and got out at 49.75. So the NQ happened really fast too. Those trades are, here's this one right here. Here's the NQ one. The S one was spread around. So anyway, both of those worked. And what did I get on the YM? I don't remember what I got on the YM.
Is it 9?
9, I think that's right. Yeah, I think it was 9 ticks there on the YM. So I got a little bit there, a little bit there, and the YM was the one that I was actually aiming to get. It was right here. So now I think we're back where we want it to be, above 0. But it's 128. Let's see. I was entering that all down here. Right. This is today. Did I enter it up here by accident? No, this is today. 11. What's today? The 21st. Right?
Yep.
21. Why is there already stuff in here? I'm just going to do this.
Was that from the 19th, yesterday?
Yeah, I didn't trade yesterday, but I think it was from the day before yesterday. 11/18. Yesterday was the 20th. I think it was the 19th.
You missed a day.
Yeah. Oh, I did miss a day, didn't I? Okay, so the 18th. The 19th was the day I missed, and then yesterday I didn't place any trades. Okay, so let's just, this is right, 11/21. We'll just do today. Okay, so on the NQ right now, we're at 16. And on the YM, we are now at 9. And on the gold, we're at -15. And on the ES, we are at 14. 14? No, 4. 4. Okay, so we are positive. Okay, now I'll fill these numbers out in a few minutes here. And so far we have 1 step up. 1 step up. Sorry. So we are positive. That's good. That's where I was trying to be. On the NQ, we could have a trade here on the down close. On the gold, we don't. On the yes, we don't. On the gold, I think I missed a couple of trades while I was figuring that stuff out. This is not going to be a trade. It's going to flip the YBR now. This is flipping the YBR. And we don't have anything else. And it's 129. So we did manage to get positive. I would have liked to have been a little more positive. But we didn't take a bunch of trades either so far.
That gap down on the down. That's
and the
but
gold.
you're not. Yeah. But
it's not oversold.
Nope.
We're close to trades, but we're not there. So what did it look like on the big picture today? We're back in the green. Okay. Well, the 50% retracement is what I was looking for. 66.70, I think I said this morning, right? And then a failure off of that, probably. This is where it came. You see how it went from red to white right there? That means it came out right there. So it's got to go full cycle to take another trade. And it hasn't done that. All right. So show evidence. Now we're sold here on the gold. We need a pullback and then another down close. Will do it for us. We have potential for a trade on all four of the markets have potential for a trade right now. I don't know if they're going to come together and give us one, but they all have potential. Gold is pretty close. We need an up close followed by down close on the gold. Up followed by down on the gold. And well, you know what? It's 131. I'm going to end it positive right now. So today we ended up with 25.90, and the number of trades we took in this session, we took 6 trades with 1 stop out. So 83.3% of our trades were positive. We ended up with 25.83 with 1 contract, but this number should be 10. Is that right? Yeah, it should be that. So if I copy that, paste it there, 258, 258.33 in this session. So we didn't quite get the goal for today, but then we only had 15 minutes of trading time. So that is, we're going to wrap it up for this session. So let's go here one more time and say, if you have not taken the free trial, let's go to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button and it will bring you to the registration page right here. Just fill this out. Once you fill it out, you'll be sent everything you need to get into the room in the morning and to get your indicators indicating on your charts. Okay, that is where you want to be. Today in this session, we're up 258.33 with 10 contracts, and in the morning, we're up 3,732 with 10 contracts. So good numbers, no matter how you slice it. All right, that is it. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. And Dwayne is ready. I'm sorry I ran over a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 15 minutes and 5 trades to get to $2,250, and Michael after 20 ticks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys. We left off goal. Just ran up zone. Zones at 41.06. 2. So zones are in area, but as you can see, resistance. Here where the zones 4012/4013, there's support. That's how it works. Now I've gone through all the markets in granular fashion. As soon as I sign off, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN, see today's entire broadcast in its entirety. Or you can just fast forward to the part where I began the recap. S&P. And talked earlier about the potential for resistance at the black step line, and that's exactly what's happened so far. Hit it, now we've backed off. How we close today will be important. I think Sunday night is going to be quite active. Only market we have. Silver. This is where silver opened last night. Now, had a lag and a retracement, pullback hill. Then the candle that opened at 8 p.m. Eastern dropped right to the short target. Shot it just a little. Only need 2 pennies in silver to get your goal for. So, beginning of the right candle. This candle opened 29, dropped to 981. It's about $2,000. Support bounced us into resistance at red and falling. Resistance sent us down to support at the zone where we consolidated. And the low of the session, if you look far enough left, you'll see why. Support sends us to resistance. We open the BBC, we open the zone. Pullback, we've got support times 2, which becomes support times 3, really, because on this pullback, what you're looking for. Now, this is evidence of another, well, this candle actually opened right on the zone, so it's not really a slice. But anyway, see the leg, the retracement. Now, on a pullback to the zone, we expect support. On a pullback to the BBC, we expect support. And on a pullback to blue and climbing, that's often support. So right here, it's kind of support times 3. That shot us up to the high of the session so far. Over here, see black step line is above blue and climbing. Then it crossed and got on the left side, falling. So that's an inflection point. It's an important price, important area. It's exactly where the high of the day is. It's not magic. It's not a parlor trick. It's just reading the chart. So now we got a retracement back to the short target. Print a green candle, but got step line and blue and climbing directly above price. So that's resistance times 2. So what will most likely happen is a retracement back to the VBC. And then hopefully another side. Now it's possible price could just through right here. Certainly possible. But typically what will happen is we'll get that retracement. Back holds, we'll get an upside. Pullback doesn't hold, then you got potential support down here in the zone. Right here, turn to blue. Session. We're back. Barely above $50. All right, one last look at the daily. Again, you can watch the whole broadcast in its entirety. Or half so far, hour and 45. I was 5 minutes late getting started, so So, to become a member, email Valerie support@CFRN. Price has kept you from being a member. Ask her about the monthly subscription. It's a limited time, something we're testing. Ask her. Say, hey, Valerie, can you tell me more about the monthly subscription. Support at CFRN.net. She'll get back with you right away. Now, once you become a passport holder, 2 hours of live training every trading day. It's an interactive environment. Also get private one-on-one mentoring. Extra charge, all you got to do is ask. Strategy you learn, indicators you have as a passport holder, put across all markets and all stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. It's just how markets work. And it's, as I showed you today and show you every day, support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never cycle. And it's the Logic 247 alerts that will teach you to anticipate resistance, support at specific points. Never trade a Logic 247 alert. Issued over 21,000 of them the last 7 years. At least use them. Chart. Because once you learn how to read the chart, learn how to trade, and then you don't need anything from anybody. That'd be nice. As a passport holder, you'll also get the concierge trade alerts, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening, every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, trading zones. Tonight, you'll be able to attend the members-only workshop. Last but not least, passport holder. Get the golden keys that open all the private channels in Telegram. There's quite a few. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof. Price. Email Valerie today, support at CFRN.net. It's never been easier. Remember. Let's wrap the week up with our good word. God wants to work through you. Part 2. John 20:21. As my Father hath sent me, even so I send you. Jesus said in John 5:19, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can only do what he sees his Father doing. Because whatever the Father does, the Son also does. The Father loves the Son, shows him. Demands on Jesus were endless. Those who were sick wanted to heal them. Pharisees wanted to embroil him in theological arguments. His disciples wanted him to go to certain places and not others. Every step Jesus took, every act he performed, question he answered, was in response to the leadings of his heavenly Father. That's why he didn't burn out. That's why he could say on the eve of his crucifixion, John 17:4, I have glorified you on the earth. I have finished the work which you have given me. Now you understand why Jesus often prayed all night. It was early in the morning to pray. His disciples were still sleeping. He had only one purpose: doing what God wanted done that day. Is that easy to do? No. Pressure you, and unmet needs will guilt trip you unless you are absolutely clear as to what God wants you to do. And knowing that calls intimacy, sensitivity, and obedience to God. Living this way brings a level of joy and fulfillment that cannot be found in any else. Not sex, not drugs, not even rock and roll. John 20:21. And this is the life I've been called. As Jesus said, as my Father hath sent me, even so I send you. That's our good word for today and for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wherever you are, God continues to bless you with His mercy and with His grace. I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.